Hello guys and welcome back to a new video. Today we're gonna do a build diary of my starter in the Legion League. I'm gonna explain to you why I choose this build in particular and why I always go for it like when starting leagues. So let's go into the game quickly. Here we are. So if we look at the character, it's a Saboteur level 90 currently. That did all the Atlas all the way through Shaper. Didn't do Elder just yet because I want to do it on a melee character. It's something I haven't done yet and I really want to give it a go with my second build of the league. So yeah, why Saboteur? Because it has really nice damage. It's really easy to play, really easy to gear, scales with no investment whatsoever, and it's very versatile. Although we don't have that much life, we can do like all the in-game content on the build. It's really efficient in terms of like map rolls, because we don't care about the reflect LE, the no region and whatsoever. So if you look at the gear, build is based around the Tinker Skin unique chest and shaped glove with skills which throw a trap, throw up to one additional trap. So we are taking, since we are getting the Tinker Skin and we're getting energy shield and life when our traps are triggered by enemies, we are using Eldritch Battery to reserve all of our mana, and we get like infinite mana because we are getting always like shitloads of ES from the trap triggering through enemies. So I invested 5C on this build and bought a Tinker Skin that has managed to 6 link really easily. Otherwise you would like need 5x to buy it early, to buy a Tinker Skin 6 link early on in the league, but a 5 link Tinker Skin will do the job just fine until you can grind the currency to get it. So we're gonna take a quick look at the gear, then the skills I'm using, the choices I made for the gems, take a look at the passive, and then I'm gonna go back to standard and show you a min-max version of this build. But keep in mind that this damage, tooltip damage 32k, is more than enough to do Shaper, no problem. I've been doing it for quite some leagues now and never failed me. The only problem I encountered this league is that some Legion mobs, especially rare mobs, are doing like massive hits and you can get one shot pretty easily. It's either killed or be killed with some of them. So that was the little downside I have it. So if we look at the gear, we are here using a temple weapon with spell damage and non-chaos as extra chaos, a little bit of crit chance and a little bit of flat lightning to spells. If you look at the item level, it's 63 and I killed Shaper with it. So yeah, gear doesn't really matter. Lightning trap scales really well out of levels. Then life resist pieces for helmet, shield, boots, gloves. I just alt spam shaped high level 75 plus gloves until I could get the one additional trap mod, then regold them and crafted life, but you can craft a res if you need a res or whatever. Same here, life resist, a little bit of ES belt, life resist, stats, crit multi spell damage amulet. Amulet is kind of nice. Here we have a life resist and a little bit of chance to freeze and cold damage against shield and frozen enemy ring with a little bit of chaos res. So concerning the gemlings, for the main setup it's lightning trap with multiple traps. I use multiple traps because I prefer it uh, as opposed to cluster traps, but it really works well when you have the one additional trap gloves. Until then I was using cluster traps, and that's really a question of personal preference. If you prefer cluster traps, go for cluster traps. If you find multiple traps more adapted to your playstyle, go for multiple traps. Then control destruction, lightning penetration, PS, and trap and main damage. Then To sustain my DPS against single target, I'm using a lightning spiral trap with control destruction, trap and main damage, added lightning damage. Concerning auras, I'm using Wrath and 03 for single target, and Wrath, Herald of Ice, Herald of Thunder for mapping in order to get some cold damage to spell. And since we're quitting, we are going to shatter the bodies, and this way avoid all the on-death effects like Detonate Dead or Porcupine Spikes. So it gives you really good quality of life while mapping. But ultimately, if you can get cold damage to spells on either Shaped Ring or your weapon, you can ditch the Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder and get 03 and Wrath. You will get a little bit more DPS. It's 30k at the moment with the 2 Heralds, and with the 2 Auras it's 32k. So concerning the other gems, I'm using, as I said, 03 and then Herald of Thunder, and here it is, Herald of Ice for mapping, and Wrath and 03 for single target. Then a Bear Trap gives you a little bit more damage with your traps when the enemy is in the Bear Trap. Then Valgrace to get a little bit more evasion when I need it. Chaos Golem for some physical mitigation. Flame Dash, faster casting. You don't use Arcane Surge in this setup because you're not spending mana, so Arcane Surge would never proc. Then defensive, cast when damage taken, Immortal Cold, increased duration. Valrach's Fire to sustain my DPS against single target, and increased duration also works with Valrach's Fire, so that's pretty nice. Concerning Flask, Quicksilver of Adrenaline, Diamond Flask of Warding. Here I choose to go with a Silver Flask because I don't have an Alchemist of Adrenaline, so it gives me Onslaught. And we don't do the kills ourselves with the build. The traps are killing the enemies, so we cannot use Abyss Duel with the Onslaught and Kill mod. Doesn't work. Then an Adjust Promise. Defensive, offensive, nice and versatile flask, really cheap, really efficient. You can go for Wise Oak if you resist a triple balance, which means that the number in the parentheses here are all the same. And watch out if you're using a flask with of resistance, or like a Dying Sun, I don't know, a Taste of Hate, some flask like this, it messes up your triple balance Wise Oak. So watch out for this. But yeah, if you have like 90 90 90 here, you will get both the defensive buff for all the elements and both the offensive buff for all the elements from the Wise Oak. So it can be a really nice choice for both defensive and offensive. But ultimately, Adjust Promise does the job just fine, and it's really cheap early on in the league. And since you can farm at 0 on really, like I did my first agility on a 4-link Tinkerskin and got the flask, so it's really easy to obtain with this boss, since we are like basically immune to reflect due to the fact that we are throwing traps. Now if we look at the skill tree, it's a really SSF friendly skill tree with no jewels, because nice jewels are really expensive in the beginning of the league. So if we look at the passive tree, it's yes, damage, trap node, crit, trap node, crit multi, bit life, with projectile, more evasion life, yes, more life, trap nodes, acro is acro, more defensive mechanics with the phasing that we're getting from the Tinker skin, which also generates some frenzy charges, some more trap nodes, life, crit multi, some more crit multi, Eldritch Battery to reserve all our mana and use energy shield instead. Here is Blast Cascade, some crit multi, and power charge generation. So we're getting the frenzies from the Tinker skin and the power from the Blast Cascade node. Before the rework of the passive tree, Master Sapper was here, so we could use Master Sapper and just get use like for frenzy charge generation. But now it's kinda in a weird spot. You can go there if you want and ditch the Tinkerskin, but Tinkerskin is a great choice for this build. If you want to ditch the Tinkerskin, go for low weave, or if you don't have the currency, for a rare 6-link with the color you need or a tabula, and just don't take Eldritch Battery and unreserve a little bit of mana to be able to cast your traps. Here we get the crit node, life, life, little bit life regen. We don't really need these nodes because of the ascendancy, but I find them really nice, so I usually took them. Crit multi, a bit more life, bit damage, and to freeze, shock and ignite, and some more life. I go this way and take these nodes because they are 6%ers as well as these ones, whereas other like these ones or these ones are 5%ers, so decent for life pool. For the ascendancy, use perfect prime to get a little bit more damage, some cooldown recovery speed for the lightning spire trap, since lightning trap is instant. Chain reaction, huge quality of life, DPS boost with increased damage, cooldown recovery skill, and also the once one of your trap is triggered by an enemy, all your other traps that are nearby this trap will be triggered, so it gives you huge kill speed. I choose to go with explosive expert for some more AoE, some more damage on lightning spire trap, because lightning trap doesn't skill from AoE. A little bit of pen, and the reduced damage taken from trap and mine hits to be able to farm a little bit of lab early on in the league. And Pyromaniac gives you immunity to ignite, to shock, which makes your flask choices much more easier, and gives you massive life regen when your traps are triggered. And the reduced mana cost of skill is pretty nice if you're not taking Eldritch Battery or until you're working your way through your Tinker skill for mana sustain, because traps can be pretty mana intensive. So yeah, pretty standard trap tree, I would say. Really works well, really versatile build, and really cheap. Now I'm gonna take you back to standard and show you the min-maxed version of the build. So here we go. Yeah, for the bandits, you wanna kill Alira, and I'm gonna show you the pantheons. It's the same for both builds. So yeah, for pantheons, we're using Lunaris and Growthcool. If you're taking the blind ascendancy, here, just go for Brine King to get the stun immunity, because Growthcool and Lunaris is really nice if you don't have the blind, but ultimately Brine King is really nice if you have the blind. So now this is a min-max version. On the other build we had 32k DPS, here we had 80k, and that is because I have a +2 socketed trap and mine Tinker skin with 21 lightning trap, 21 trap and mine damage, 21 multiple traps, then control destruction, lightning pen, pierce, same here. A multi-modded temple weapon with increased trap damage, some cold damage spell to ditch the Hell of Ice and get the shatters with both 0-3 and was enabled, some crit chance, crit multi, a little bit of lightning damage as extra chaos damage. Life ES crit multi, always really nice amulet. The girl, I would prefer a rare helmet, but since I have the lightning trap damage penetrates 10% of lightning resistance enchant, I'm using it. Then some multi-modded gloves with the additional trap, projectile pierce an additional target, give a 5 pierce on the lightning trap, so nice quality of life, and some life, and some res. Then the only difference is that I'm using Sunblast, which makes our trap trigger way faster, reduce shitload of duration on the traps. So this allows you to be a little bit more messy when targeting mobs. So for instance, let's say the mob are around here. Even if I'm doing like this, they will be hit even if I miss like the trap trigger zone, you know. So pretty nice. And 2 opal rings with some stats, some lightning damage. But the implicit elemental damage really does a lot for us. For flask, I ditched the silver on this one to get a sulfur for even more damage, and otherwise it's the same setup for lightning spire trap, summon chaos golem, ascendancy is the same, The skill tree is a little bit different because I didn't take Alira since I don't really need the damage from Alira and the res and whatnot, and took some more jewels like this one, ES life, chance to shock. That's a little bit of res, life, and chance to freeze, which is nice. And the Watcher's Eyes with 0-3 and Wrath mods to get even more damage. Otherwise, the skill tree is pretty much the same. I took these points instead of these points, but other than that, really nothing too different here. So yeah, so this is my iteration of the Lightning Trap Saboteur. If you wanna check out a slightly different version that also works really well and has a very detailed build guide, go check out the Demi's Infinite Tinkerer on YouTube and give him a huge shout out because it's a really great guy who does nice builds, shows you how to min-max to the hell your builds, and does a lot for the community. So yeah, give him a shout out. And as always, Pastebin for both versions, like the starter and the min-max version, will be included in the description. And if you wanna come and check me out on Twitch, my Twitch account will be linked also in the description. So that is gonna be all for me for this video. I hope you have a good time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments, and see you guys on the next video. Bye.